total of 26 different modifiers have been added throughout Brawl Stars history, and today I'm going to be ranking each and every one of them from worst to best. So don't forget to subscribe and let's get right into it. Let's start with probably the most controversial modifier ever, Second Wind. This modifier respawns players where they died instead of at a fixed point. While the idea was interesting, it caused utter chaos in ranked mode. In fact, due to overwhelming negative feedback, the developers actually reduced its appearance rate from 20% to just 1%. What went wrong? Well, Brawl Ball turned into a nightmare since you were almost guaranteed to concede the goal if your team died further down the map. It almost made the mode feel like knockout, which is strange. Heist also became a total disaster, with both teams brainlessly running up to each other's safes, knowing that if they were killed, they would respawn right back on the enemy team's safe. Gym grab matches turned into a drawn-out slugfest, since it was much easier now to make a comeback and steal the enemy team's gems. So overall, Second Wind was an innovative idea, but just poorly executed for competitive play. Introduced in the first ranked season in March, Quickfire passively reloads brawlers' ammo when their attacks hit enemies. This made quick burst damage brawlers like Jean and Tick incredibly strong, while short-range brawlers struggled. Despite its fixed meta though, it was fun to play with the right brawlers, and it received positive feedback, so it's no surprise it's returned again this season. Interestingly, Time Detonation was the only modifier to appear in both the first two seasons of Ranked. It destroys map obstacles every 5 seconds until the whole map is obliterated. This forced players to use long-range sharpshooter brawlers since tanks and throwers became ineffective, and map choices were almost invalidated since obstacles were destroyed anyway. Big Friend is a ranked modifier that makes it to where all brawlers' health are increased to match the brawler with the highest health on their respective team. And thanks to Frank, we could now see 10k HP ticks and spikes running around the map. Honestly though, it is a pretty dull modifier since all it does is boost the base HP without adding much excitement. Big Friend may have been boring, but I can't say the same about Barbed Ammo. This modifier deals additional damage over time to enemies upon hitting them. It feels like being constantly hit with Crow's Poison Daggers or Byron's Potion, which if I say it like that sounds pretty annoying. But to be fair, I like that it promotes actual strategy within the matches and doesn't eliminate most of the brawlers from being viable like the other ranked mods do. Overall, it's pretty balanced and fairly fun. It's just a shame that it's only appeared in one ranked season so far. First introduced during the second ranked season, Sick Beats makes all brawlers immune to slows, stins, and knockbacks. As a result, these changes totally weaken brawlers such as Jackie, Gale, and Dynamite, making many of their base abilities, star powers, and even gadgets useless. And brawlers like Gray and Jean were left unable to use their pulling mechanics. Since all the modifier does is passively neutralize half of the brawler's abilities, it's easy to see why I'm putting Sick Beats in the unfun category. What do you get when you reverse the Time Detonation modifier? The answer is super bushy. In this modifier, bushes grow in the center of the map over time, giving a clear advantage to short-range brawlers. Although not perfectly balanced, it was still better than many other modifiers since it added a nice twist to the gameplay. The Unlimited Power modifier essentially brought Showdown into 3v3. The mod makes it to where power cubes drop whenever a brawler is defeated, a goal is scored in Brawl Ball, or a round ends in Knockout, which gives a health and damage boost. It can definitely be unfair and imbalanced since this brings a power discrepancy to the matches. But I don't know, I just like having the excitement of the power cubes inside 3v3 modes, so I'm going to give it a decent ranking. Toxic Arena and Devastation Cloud are two Mega Pig modifiers that bring the Poison Clouds from Knockout and Showdown into 3v3 matches. Toxic Arena modifier creates a deadly poison gas which blows in from the edges of the arena until it covers 2/3 of the map. The gas deals 20% of your brawler's maximum health per second. Devastation Cloud is the same thing, except the gas is more deadly and now also destroys the environment. There are definitely some annoying things about these modifiers. In Brawl Ball, when the enemy team scores, they can just yeet the ball into the smoke, giving the other team no chance of winning, or a Knockout, a Sprout can cycle his super and trap the enemy team in the poison clouds. Devastation Clouds also feel a little recycled. However, I also love how the intensity of the match builds as time goes on. The modifiers tend to encourage aggro play, which makes matches feel more fun and thrilling. So with that said, both mods have their positives and negatives, but they're still decent nonetheless. During Brawl days of 2023, a brand new modifier was added into Megapig called Ice Age. It creates tiles of snow randomly across the map, which slows you down. The water tiles were also changed into ice tiles, causing you to slip and slide. Unfortunately, the modifier ended up being a complete flop. All it did was make movement more frustrating, and it lacked any strategic depth. And that's why the Ice Age mod is going right into the unfun tier. Introducing Time Detonation's ugly brother, Instant Overtime. This may possibly be one of the strangest modifiers they have ever released. You essentially play the entire match on a completely empty map. It's like one of those goofy 1v1 friendly battles, but in a real match. Also, picking a short-range brawler is like a death sentence in this mod, so you end up being forced to choose a long-range brawler. Let's be real. Does anyone even like this modifier? The Tilt modifier was added as a temporary modifier during the December 2019 update in the Daryl's ship environment, and it appeared again in the Totally Normal Challenge, Curse Challenge, and the Lex 1 Million Subs Challenge. The map periodically rolls horizontally from right to left and vice versa, with the first roll occurring a few seconds after the match starts. The map stays flat until the first roll and will not become flat for the rest of the match. Honestly, I really hope we have this come back again soon, cause I still remember how fun it was. It felt like playing on a ship which was rocking from side to side. Definitely one of the coolest modifiers added into Brawl Stars. The Burning Ball modifier first appeared in the Totally Normal Challenge back in 2022 and then was added again last year during the Golden Ball event, and interestingly is a Brawl Ball exclusive modifier. It makes the ball inflamed and deals 1000 damage per second to anyone holding it. The ball is also able to break through walls when you shoot it. There are a few issues with the modifier, such as randoms being randoms and constantly holding the ball, dying instantly, or the fact that it made trick shots impossible. However, I can overlook those issues because it still feels quite fun and refreshing, definitely making it one of my favorite modifiers to play. It's really a shame that it isn't available in friendly games. Between the months of February and April 2023, there were two special modifiers added into the game. The first was the Easter egg modifier in February. At the start of a match, an Easter egg would spawn somewhere on the map, and when it was collected, a new egg would spawn. For every Easter egg that a player collected in a solo showdown or a team gets in duo showdown, between 1 and 15 coins or power points were rewarded. Just 2 months later, we got another similar modifier for the Save the Frogs event, which worked in the same way, except that this one was only for the bounty game mode. For every frog a team collected in bounty, coins, power points, or bling were rewarded. Honestly, the only reason I'm adding these as modifiers is because it was listed on the Phantom page. Otherwise, these do nothing to change the gameplay, and the rewards from them were pretty trash. But hey, they're free, so I ain't complaining. Now, Peekaboo was a limited time Brawloine modifier that makes every brawler in the match invisible for 7 seconds with a 10-second cooldown. At the start of a match, the cooldown takes 3 seconds. I still remember how much fun I had with this every October when it came around. The insane plays that I could do, the strategies I could make. It was like having a Leon super activate every 10 seconds. Who wouldn't love that? For me, Peekaboo is an absolutely goated modifier. In the August 2021 update, a new limited modifier was added to Solo Showdown called Solo Showdown Plus. The way it worked was very simple. For every kill got in a match, they would be rewarded with 1 extra trophy. Obviously, the Plus modifier was an improvement over normal Solo Showdown. I mean, getting extra free trophies is always great, right? Unfortunately, the change didn't really solve the main issue of teaming that the devs were hoping to fix. And so the special mode was removed from the game after that update, and it hasn't returned since. But I don't see this modifier ever coming back, especially now that we have win streaks in the game. That would be an absurd amount of trophies that we could win in one game. Anyway, I'm not a Solo Showdown enjoyer, so I'm just going to put this in the average tier. Along with the release of Hypercharges during September 2023, we received a new limited time event called Hypercharge Unleashed. This would introduce a new modifier to the game called Hyper Drops. The modifier replaces power cubes obtained from power cube boxes with hypercharge boosters. These boosters charge brawlers' supers or hypercharges instantly. However, brawlers with their fully charged supers and hypercharges will not be able to collect it. The modifier was fun but also chaotic. Maybe a little too chaotic, because it started causing the servers to overload and devices to crash, which led the devs to cancel the Hypercharge Unleashed event. Interestingly though, you can actually play Hyper Drops in friendly battles. In April 2023, Brawl Stars added a new modifier into Solo Showdown called Top Dog. It completely disabled passive health regeneration and replaced it with healing hot dogs that would spawn in the map and also drop from defeated enemies. It was clear that this modifier was added to mainly tackle the issue of teaming. Unfortunately, it didn't really make much of an impact. Teaming continued to be a problem, while camping became an even worse issue with the new modifier. Although it ended up as a failure, I do appreciate that the devs tried to add a little twist to Solo Showdown. I'm not a big Showdown player, but even I can say that it definitely felt refreshing at the time. Which also explains why it's been added into friend battles. Graveyard Shift was first introduced during Brawl Halloween of 2019 as a limited time modifier which makes you lose a small amount of health every second. However, dealing damage to enemy brawlers will actually restore some of your health, and defeating a brawler will restore you to full health. All healing abilities also have reduced effectiveness. This modifier is definitely one of my favorites. It makes the matches feel much more intense and thrilling, and it forces everyone to go on the offensive, which makes for some cool moments. However, since the modifier isn't limited anymore, I do think it loses a little bit of its charm. Healing Mushroom spawns healing circles randomly across the map. It has a rung element to it, which can be annoying, but honestly I find the healing helpful and it's been in the game for a long time. Meteor Shower is another classic modifier that randomly drops meteors on players in the map, dealing damage and destroying obstacles. I feel like it adds a fun challenge since it requires more careful movement to dodge the falling rocks. I've always found it to be a pretty fun modifier. If you're an AUG in Brawl Stars, you'd know all about the Energy Drink modifier. It was iconic for giving brawlers a huge boost in size and power. It was straightforward, fun, and fair, and is a favorite among the community. Angry Robo is a classic modifier that spawns a boss robot that targets the nearest brawler. If I'm being honest, I always found it a little annoying to be chased down by this robot and waste ammo to take it down, since it feels a little redundant, so I'll have to place it lower on the list. Fast Brawlers and Supercharge are two passive modifiers that have been in game for a long time. These are as simple as it gets. Fast Brawlers increased the speed of every player on the map, and Supercharge doubled the supercharge rate of all players. Both are pretty basic. The next modifier is one you are all familiar with since it's the most recent one added into Brawl Stars: Mutations. These limited-time mutations gave brawlers special mutated abilities. Instead of it being an automatic effect, we had to collect each of them first from monster eggs to unlock their respective ability. Now, while mutations were fun and chaotic, there are two major flaws with them. Firstly, not all the 80 brawlers received mutations, and those that did seemed pretty imbalanced. Some mutations were super strong, such as for Rico, Riffs, Angelo, or Hank, and others were useless, like Leon's or Belle's. But since they were a limited time thing, I'm sure the devs can improve it if they decide to bring it back again. And I still found them fun to play overall. So guys, this is my final ranking of every Brawl Stars modifier ever released. Do you agree with this tier list? And what would you change about it? Waiting to hear your thoughts in the comments. And if you enjoyed this video, do subscribe because this one took a long time to make. And I'll see you in the next one.